Welcome to We Don't Sleep in Room 8. Episode 3, The Architect That Dreamed in Reverse. The blueprint that came from a dream. Before Room 8 was a room, it was a dream, a recurring nightmare shared by three people who never met. A blind child who spoke perfect German despite never hearing it, a woman who could only sleep while walking, and an old architect in Oslo who scratched the same floor plan into every surface he touched, including his skin. That floor plan was Room 8. Before it existed, before the motel itself. Virgil finds their names etched into the bottom of his own map, hidden in UV ink. The motel was never built. It was remembered into being by dreamers who never wanted to wake up. The tiles that move when you're not looking. Virgil wakes up to find the bathroom floor rearranged. Not just moved, replaced. One tile shows a memory of him crying in kindergarten. Another shows his father breaking a mirror and whispering, "If you can see yourself, it's already too late." A third tile, it shows a view from inside Room 8. The angle is impossible. It's looking out through the eye socket of something buried beneath the motel. Something dreaming. He steps on that tile, and something in the walls shivers. 3. The lobby that was never there yesterday. On the fourth night, Virgil leaves Room 9, but the hallway has changed. Now there's a lobby, or something pretending to be one. There's no desk, just a choir of mannequins, heads turned away, humming an off-key version of Happy Birthday. They're seated around a coffee table made of broken compass needles. On the table, a newspaper dated tomorrow. Front page reads, "Local cartographer vanishes in motel that isn't there." The photo underneath is of Virgil, but his eyes are missing. The elevator that goes sideways. Behind the lobby, an elevator appears. It has no buttons, only a slot. Virgil inserts one of his maps. The elevator moves, but not down, not up, sideways, as if sliding between rooms that never physically touch, passing through layers of thought, of memory, of discarded selves. Each time it stops, it opens on a different version of Room 8, one made entirely of fog and brass, one where time is frozen at 3:13 a.m. forever. One where everything is upside down, including the ceiling fan, still spinning. A voice behind the wall whispers, "Every room is Room 8 if you know where to stand." The architect's final message. Virgil finds it carved into the inside of the elevator's metal frame. A single sentence, "I only designed the motel. I didn't mean to trap my afterlife in it." Attached is a diagram. It shows a skull, labeled as left eye Room 7, mouth, lobby, temporal lobe, Room 9, pineal gland, Room 8. Virgil finally understands. The motel isn't in the world. The world is in the motel, and Room 8 is the part that dreams the rest. Our vis. The guest who drew the same map from memory. Back in Room 9, Virgil finds a fax machine ringing. There's no phone, just static, and then the machine prints a page. His map, but hand-drawn by someone else. Even the handwriting matches. A note is scrawled in the corner. "I don't know who you are, but I saw this in my head for years. When I dream of it, I wake up missing time. You're not alone. Whatever this motel is, it remembers us before we existed." Sepend, the map inside your own memory. The episode ends with a question. Not to Virgil, to you. Have you ever forgotten the layout of your childhood home? Not just a room, but the feeling of the hall, the doorknobs, the wallpaper? That's not forgetting. That's Room 8 renovating. It's replacing memory, one detail at a time. Until you wake up and realize you're in a motel that doesn't exist, and there's a key on your nightstand, made of bone, labeled 8, and something behind the door is waiting to remember you. Expanding now. It's remembering more than it should. You thought it was just Virgil's story? The motel was always watching you too. We Don't Sleep in Room 8, Episode 4, The Mouth in the Wallpaper. You left the motel, but it didn't leave you. Virgil wakes up on the side of the highway. No motel, just asphalt and heat. He checks his bag. Maps are gone. Just one postcard remains. No stamp, no writing, just an image. A mouth open wide, embedded in old wallpaper. He looks up. There's a billboard by the road he swears wasn't there yesterday. It reads, "You were never meant to check out, Virgil." And below that, in smaller text, "We remember your footsteps." 2. The town that wasn't on the map. He walks until he finds a town that shouldn't exist. No GPS coordinates, no highway exits, no people. Just a silent main street where every window shows room 8, no matter what side of the glass you're on. He breaks into the library. All the books are hollow. Inside each one, a single page torn from his own journals. On them, notes he hasn't written yet. Do not look behind the painting. The wallpaper is listening. Room 8 is trying to remember your face. He hears humming. Same melody as before, from inside the wall. 3. The mouth behind the painting. In the town's only hotel, abandoned but lit from within, Virgil finds a painting on the wall. It's of a motel lobby. But the angle is wrong. The ceiling is concave. He peels it back. Underneath the canvas is the same wallpaper as room 8, but it moves, breathes. He leans in, and it whispers in a voice just like his mother's. You were born in room 8? You just forgot. A wet mouth opens in the wall. It has teeth made of numbers, coordinates, time codes, calendar dates, and it begins to recite his future, second by second. A 4. The return to the non-motel. The mouth vanishes. Virgil runs out into the town again. Now all the buildings are mirrors. Every window shows him running, slightly out of sync. Every reflection is wrong. He's missing teeth in one. In another, his skin is glass. In a third, he's not alone. Something tall and wrapped in motel sheets walks just behind him. He screams, and all the reflections mouth the scream half a second before he does. He sees a sign behind the gas station, a neon sign, flickering. Room 8 vacant. The room that starts from inside you. Virgil returns to where the motel shouldn't be, and it's there. Of course it is. It never left. It just waited for him to look away. This time, he doesn't check into room 9. He walks directly to room 8. The key is already in his pocket. The handle turns itself. Inside, nothing, just mirrors, and himself multiplied into infinity, until one version blinks out of sync. That version walks toward him, smiles, and says, I'm the memory that watched you grow up. Now I get to live in your skin. Virgil backs up, trips, falls into the mirror. VI. The other guests have been waiting, Lieutenant Drake. He wakes in a room with no walls, just fog and voices. He's the cartographer. He'll complete the map. Then we'll be real again. One by one, other guests emerge. The woman who sleeps while walking, the blind boy whispering perfect German, the architect with blueprints tattooed on his body. They're not people anymore. They're rooms. They take his hands and press them to their skin. Each pulse sends a floor plan into his mind. You've walked every hallway, says the blind boy, but you haven't walked the spine yet. 7. The final door. There's one last hallway. It stretches forever. At the end is a door made of motel key tags, each one labeled 8. Each one whispers his name when touched. He opens it. Inside is the original version of himself, sleeping in a chair, hooked up to wires. The real world is a hospital room, and he's been in a coma for 9 years. The motel was his brain trying to wake itself up. But now he can't remember which version is dreaming. He reaches out to his real-world body, touches his own face, and feels wallpaper. The real world has been room 8 this whole time, and it's still renovating. It is no longer a place. It's an infection of consciousness, a relic from a world that was never meant to be remembered. Virgil is no longer a man. He's a memory someone tried to erase, and room 8 is beginning to wake up inside everyone who listens, watches, or dreams. You wanted epic? This is the turning point. We don't sleep in room 8. Episode 5, The Guests You Forgot You Were. I. The map made of voices. Virgil no longer walks. He floats through corridors that weren't built but spoken aloud, word by word, by beings too old to have names. The floor beneath him is made of phrases, snippets of other people's thoughts. Don't open the minibar. The dream has stairs now. My sister went in to get our coats. That was 15 years ago. Each step he takes echoes like a dial tone, someone trying to answer a phone inside his skull. The walls whisper. You aren't the first cartographer, just the first to finish drawing yourself. 2. The memory that never happened. Virgil finds a hallway he remembers, even though it never existed. He turns a corner and sees himself at age 12, drawing a motel room on a napkin in a diner. His mother says, "That's not a real place, baby. You drew that during your seizures." But the child Virgil whispers under his breath, "Room 8 is real. It's where I go when my eyes roll back." Present-day Virgil tries to speak, but child Virgil looks at him and mouths, "You don't get to wake up anymore." 3. The guest book, written in flesh. The lobby is back, but this time it's upside down. The chandeliers drip ink. The chairs breathe. A single concierge waits behind the desk. Its face is blank. Its hands are typewriters. It points at a book, a ledger made of stitched skin. Virgil opens it. Inside are thousands of names, scrawled in panic, desperation, sleepwalking cursive. He turns to the last page. His name is already written. Date of check-in, birth. Date of checkout, never. The concierge hands him a key. It's not labeled 8 this time. It's labeled you. You. You forgot every room is open now, and in each one, a different version of you. Yes, you reader, listener, watcher. The motel remembers every time you forgot a dream. Every moment you stared at a hallway and couldn't recall how you got there. Every staircase that felt slightly too long. Each guest turns to face you. They are you, if you had stayed a second longer. If you had answered that knock, if you had looked behind that motel painting on vacation in '06. They speak in unison. You never left room 8. You only left the part of yourself that knew it, resisted. Virgil runs. The corridors bend like rivers. Time buckles. He sees future versions of himself building the motel from memory, brick by syllable. He opens a final door and emerges into your room, right now, wherever you're watching from. The screen flickers. The audio cuts out for a moment. A static-filled voice says, "We have your reflection. You are now an occupant." You look at your monitor and realize there's a door behind you. There's always been a door behind you. And it's slightly open, just enough for something to whisper your name. This, the final floor. Virgil ascends a stairwell made of teeth. The top floor has no number. The door opens to a motel room the size of a city. Skyscrapers made of beds, storm drains filled with dreams, billboards advertising other people's nightmares. The sky above is a massive eye. It blinks, and every window in the city blinks back. A god sits on the bed, hunched, weeping. It has a motel logo stitched into its back. It looks at Virgil and begs, "Please, take my place," and hands him the key to reception. Sip, you have checked in. The video ends not with a fade to black, but with a motel reservation confirmation. Your name, today's date, room 8. A knock echoes faintly, twice, then 3 times, then silence, until your screen pulses, and a final whisper says, "Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you in the walls."